Hi there, welcome to Captain General again. Let's talk about cancel culture in 2021. So, cancel culture 2021. Don't press the cancel button, even for Australian MPs. Now, just recapping on cancel culture. Courtesy is very important. And of course, if you're being courtesy, you try to avoid or ignore behaviour and commentary that you think is inappropriate. You don't encourage it. And that's, I suppose, in some ways like a form of cancel culture. But it's incredibly mild. So it's just common courtesy, decency, and ignoring comments that you deem to be inappropriate. Now, because you can't swing at everything, right? Now, but cancel culture seems to be where somebody says something or is even alleged to have said something, and then you climb on Twitter with a whole lot of people and start abusing that person. And even if they say, "Oh, I didn't say that," so even if they deny it, you still say, "No, no, no, we believe you said it," right? Even though we weren't there, we believe you said it. And you sort of carry on in this sort of public way. And of course, conservatives say, "Well, that's just virtue signaling. You're sort of showing off to your friends. You're not actually serious." So it's tough talk, but it's tough titties. It's tough nothing because you're not actually making a difference. And that's fair comment. I mean, cancel culture is potentially insidious because it's so weak. I mean, people aren't writing letters to their members of parliament. They're not getting involved. They're not organising properly. They're just shooting their mouths off on Twitter. And what use is that? I mean, it was interesting to have discussions on Twitter. Admittedly, very limited discussions because you're limited with characters. But how serious is it? Because if you're not writing to Parliament or trying to make change, it's an issue. So cancel culture can be insidious because it's actually weak in many ways, and it's not making serious change. But then in some cases it is designed to try and get employers to remove certain employees or to cause economic damage, and that boycotts, and that obviously is not a good thing. I mean, obviously there is some place for not encouraging companies who do the wrong thing or individuals who do the wrong thing, but then there's a question about to what extent you take an offhanded remark or something you don't agree with, basically, and then try to affect that person's life with it, with your rhetoric, with your dissension, your disagreement with it. So I suspect cancel culture has got a range of problems with it. From the point, in some manifestations, it's too weak. It's too weak for words. And in other ways, trying to put consequences on freedom of speech, legitimate expression, that's wrong as well. Visiting consequences that are not state sanctioned or not sanctioned by a court is not appropriate. We don't have this sort of vigilantism is wrong. It's verbal vigilantism. Basically, that's what it is. And we have a taxpayer-funded judicial system that manages the law, and it manages good government and so on and so forth. And if excuse me, if you want to change that, then you write to Parliament and you organise and you get serious, as Barack Obama would say. Cut out the nonsense, right? Cut out the circular firing squad, the purity tests, the offhanded talk on Twitter, because that's gutless. That's gutless. And why should anyone believe you that you're serious if you won't put money and time behind it and make change ultimately? Others have done that. You can do it. but yeah, just being a Twitter warrior, and just hammering people who you don't know, and for things that they may or may not have done, um, that it's questionable. So I suppose, in wrapping up, cancel culture really is a sort of amorphous thing. It has many different permutations. Some are quite weak. Some of them are quite insidious. Um, and But I suppose in some ways you could say that cancel culture is the result. These individuals who sort of make these reasonably uninformed comments. It's really the result of not enough government inquiries and commissions and that sort of thing to resolve issues. Just finally, on the Australian Parliament, there's been a few issues recently. In the last month, it's the end of March 2021 now, so the last month or so, it's been difficult. I think, it's a workplace like any other, but it's also not like any other. So I think there has to be a ban on alcohol, and non-work activities, um, non-work activities in the Parliament's grounds, whatever they may be. And I think after hours, unless you've got a reason to be there and you're monitored, I don't think people should be in Parliament. It's a workplace, but it's a very important workplace. So it's no place for alcohol or being in that workplace after 6 o'clock, unless you've got very good reason, and potentially unless you're monitored to be there. And I think that would be a great help in many ways. And I look forward for these inquiries to tell us exactly what happened and when.